Well, a very good afternoon to you from wherever you're tuned, listening and watching the Evening Farm Drive with me, Jackie Moore. Today, my voice is just a little under the weather. Hii baridi imekuwa mingi sana. Imeniingia kwa kifua, so my apologies if my voice is a little bit cracked. But let's get the show rolling. And today we want to talk about inflation and the prices of food. The price of food is just on another level. Like, if you're managing to eat a meal 3 times a day, then you should be thanking God, because some of the people are currently opting to even take one meal a day just to make ends meet. So we want to talk about the rate of inflation and the prices of food on the rise. The cost of food in Kenya has increased to 15.30% in August of 2022 over the same month in the previous year. High prices of selected food items pushed inflation up to 6.57% in August from 6.55% in July, the highest level since February last year. Latest data from Kenya National Bureau of Statistics shows food and non-alcoholic beverages inflation rose highest by 10.67% between August 2020 and August 2021. Transport prices rose 7.93%, and housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels rose 5.07% in the period. KNBS said the price of cabbage, spinach, and oranges also rose during the month, but prices of potatoes and onions are stabilizing, and that's forms the basis of our discussion today. We want to talk and find out the reason why there's this inflation and various ways of tackling this or even reducing the rate of inflation. We want to talk to Anthony Karanja. He's a financial analyst, and he will be telling us more about how to do these maths and calculations so that we get to understand. Hi, Anthony. How are you?
Hi.
Yeah, we are live on Afarmers Media. We want to talk about on this issue on inflation rate and the high cost of living. How are you taking things? Are you feeling the pinch as well on your side?
Obviously, I'm feeling the pinch considering I'm living in this country and the world right now. And the food prices right now are really high across, actually globally. And everyone is feeling the pinch, even those who have enough money, because right now, even the prices for foods are very high. And when the prices are high, it means you have a low purchase power. That means then you have to spend much more money on food. So the pinch is felt across.
I was just seeing some reports on the cost of food in Kenya has increased by 15.30% in August of 2022 over the same month in the previous year. Why do you think there's so much increase in food prices? And even when you look at the outlook, it's just the normal commodities that we usually use. There's an increase in food, in electricity, in water and gas. Why do we have inflation on those areas?
Well, the major reason right now for the food increase prices, we're talking about the 15.3%. Well, number one, you can talk about the pandemic disruptions that has been globally. We had COVID, and the production was reduced, and even the distribution was affected. And even actually right now, the major cause is the soaring energy prices. We know that the prices of the energy prices, when you're talking about petroleum, diesel, and those are the ones that are used when you talk about processing, production, and even transportation of the food. That increases the prices, and once that is high already in terms of the energy prices, we know the prices are shifted and increased on them. The products, that is the food that we know. Also, we can talk about the low yields, because currently when you're talking about increased prices, the demand is so high and the supply is low, because the food products are not enough. There is low yields in the farm. Last year, we did not have the subsidies from the government for farmers to till well their shambas. So, the last year, the National Food Reserve did not harvest enough. They did not even have enough purchase of maize as a staple food of Kenya. And so, right now, we're having a very low supply of this, increasing the prices. And to be sure, the prices are even going to be higher in the coming months, because right now, it's supposed to be harvesting season, but across South Rift and even North Rift, people are not harvesting. So we're still going to have even a higher increase.
And you've talked about the issue to do with the war. Mostly people are talking about the war in Ukraine being the main cause of the inflation rate. Like, do we really, countries in Africa, do we really need to depend on the international community to have like the subsidy products for the agriculture, even the gas and petrol?
Well, the war in Ukraine, of course, I did not mention that, but it's one of the major reasons for the increase. Ukraine are the largest exporter of wheat. They give about 30% of the world market. So with that out of the market, it means then we have a deficit of 30%. In Kenya and Africa at large, we also depend on wheat as the other option apart from maize. So with 30% out of the equation, and right now, in Kenya, we only harvest wheat in Narok and a bit of Yasingishu. So what we produce is never enough to even satisfy our own demand. So of course, we depend on the import, and with the war in Ukraine, 30% of that means the world is left without that 30%. Then obviously it's an issue, but right now we are trying to encourage. There was a government waiver on some of the products and even the subsidies. So hopefully we are trying to encourage more people to maybe plant wheat, because majorly in Ukraine and the imports we depend on wheat and soya, which has been missing.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. But you've only mentioned about wheat and soya. But even when you look at the prices of eggs, there's a story I was reading yesterday, and people are saying they are buying a tray of eggs up to 400 shillings. Where does the eggs and, let's say, even the horticultural crops get in connection with the war in Ukraine?
Well, when I talk about soya is one of the major ingredients for animal feeds. And once we miss that, it means then the animal feeds that are in place are going to be expensive. The other day, 2021, government gave a waiver of animal feeds that tried to really push on the farmers and even those who are dealing with the animal feeds and, let's say, eggs. So the major reason for that, again, I'll just talk about the animal feeds. Right now, they are quite expensive, considering the raw materials that are being used for animal feeds. Most of them are actually imported. Let's talk about soya, sunflower, and even the what we call it, the yellow maize from majorly Asia. So with that, once the animal feeds are expensive, obviously now the farmer will transfer that increment to the final product, and that's why we are going to have. That's why we are having the eggs prices as high as that, and even milk and every other item that comes from the livestock.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. Now, how can we solve the problem of these ever-increasing food prices? Because now for the second or third year in a row, the food prices have just been on an increase. And where do you project us to be heading in the coming years?
Well, I can talk about three major processes that can be done. Number one is just to increase subsidy on inputs. When you're talking about farm inputs, you're talking about seeds, fertilizer, and even the labor part of it. So once you have a subsidy, let's say on fertilizer, currently this year fertilizer has been selling up to around 6,000 shillings per bag. And most farmers are using two to three bags per acre. Initially, it was around 2,000. So with an increment of about 6,000, that's triple the price. So if the government can come up with subsidy on inputs, that means then the farmers can actually have enough fertilizer, can apply enough fertilizer while planting, and that means then the yield or the outcome will be much better. Number two, the government needs to work on its National Food Reserve Unit. Initially, the government could purchase maize and store it in national cereal stores for their own caution, considering that once we get to the dry time, that's when the food is missing. Like right now, we had a deficit of maize from May. Initially, before government would be having enough maize, that's when it could release the maize to the market to actually stabilize the prices. But right now, that has not been in place. Another thing that has really caused us problems in terms of food security, you remember the government banned the importation of genetically modified products, GMO.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the raw materials for animal feed across Europe are actually genetically modified. So it means we are really having a tough time selecting the best. And when you select the best in terms of the ones that are actually naturally produced, it means we are getting very few products coming into Kenya. We can reconsider that ban and actually work on a policy that for animal feeds you can accept. Apart from that, even let me add the fourth point of how we can really stabilize food prices. We can encourage large-scale farming. Let's take an example of Del Monte, for example. Del Monte is a large-scale farmer, but majorly he ventures on production of fruits, vegetables, and flowers. If we can encourage such things that even Del Monte can, let's say, pick a portion and plant maize, and even across North Rift and South Rift, to encourage large-scale farming, because right now, most people who are doing large-scale farming of maize have decided to do avocado. I'm sure you've heard about the jungle knife and that.
Mm-hmm.
So people are really moving away from large-scale farming of maize, and we know once we are moving away from that, we're only depending on small-scale farmers who actually just get enough for their own granary. So if you work on the 4 points, then we'll be able to have enough and even cushion our farmers and even the public if we have a store for National Food Reserve.
Interesting. Those are very interesting pointers you're pressing across. And what are the effects of rising food prices on household food security?
The effects of
The effects of the rising food prices on household food security. Do you think people can even afford to probably have a meal like 3 times in a day?
No, once the food prices are high, of course, it reduces the purchasing power, and people have resorted to other ways. Some are skipping meals, some are even actually just surviving on simple meals here and there. So the effect actually has reduced the purchasing power, and across there, some people are actually having starvation, hunger. And majorly, also, it has reduced economic development because much people are investing in food. Because initially, if you are spending 200 shillings on food for a family per day, then right now you're going to spend around 400 shillings. So the extra 200 that you are using for other development economically, you're not having that. And when you're talking about the effects, right now everyone is feeling the pinch like you started at the beginning. We talked about everyone having to purchase at a higher price. And even across northern part of Kenya, northeastern, we're having already some reported deaths caused by an availability of food. There's high insecurity, considering that everyone is trying to even steal what is available in the summer to go and have for themselves. So the effects are really felt, and unless we have a solution, then obviously people are going to continue suffering.
Very true. But still keeping on the matters of food security, what would you say should the county governments, like both the national government and the county government, do in order to ensure that people remain food secure? Because we also having the issue of failed rains, and drought is also being felt in most parts of the country. What should the national government do to ensure that households remain food secure?
Thank you. Initially, the government, together with the Ministry of Agriculture, used to have extension officers, and these people, agricultural extension officers, could visit the farmers, smallholder farmers in their farms, advising them on the modern techniques of farming, advising them on how to utilize the small portion that they have for their own food. So at the county level, we expect that the county government, together with their CECs, to come up with a program where they're supposed to be supporting these farmers, smallholder farmers. These are farmers that are supposed to be self-reliable. A homestead should be able to produce enough, even with an acre, should be able to produce enough across the calendar year to be enough for them in terms of food. So this extension officers need to be brought back so that it can be advising these farmers and even the general public. Apart from that, we also need to, the county government and the national government actually need to do a campaign. Let me tell you, Jackie, I know most Kenyans rely on maize and wheat as in the major food. But we have enough rice in the country, right?
Yes.
We always have enough rice. Why can't people even be comfortable taking rice for supper, rice for lunch, and just move on?
If you tell a lawyer guy to take rice.
Yeah, because you see, for a place like Coast Kenya, they don't have maize. They don't depend on maize. They are used to rice, and for them, even the prices of rice, a kg is slightly above 100 shillings. That's equally the same with maize, because the 2 kgs are retailing at around 220. So, and with rice, it serves more people. It serves the same purpose. So we just need also to try and convince ourselves that we don't just need to depend on maize or flour. We can try rice. We can try other ways of having our stomach full. For example, people in Kisii, we have matoke, and matoke is a staple food of Uganda, and for them, they are quite okay. That's why they are comfortable selling maize to us right now, because they are okay dealing with bananas. So we just need to take the change as Kenyans and try other ways, because we can't really just rely on maize. Right now, the supply is really shaky and the prices are high.
Very true. Very true. Anthony, you're also a financial expert. Probably talk to some of the people who are tuned in today, advise them on how they can deal with this whole story on inflation and the rise in food prices. How can they survive these hard economic times?
Well. The major point on survival right now is you just have to adapt and find a way that you can really find a food that you can afford. For example, in terms of your budgeting for food right now, I would encourage everyone to try and get food direct from the farm, and if possible, minimize on purchasing food from that have taken a long supply chain. What I'm trying to say is, if maize is retailing at 1,000, just an example, 2,000 shillings per bag at a farm's gate, for example.
Yeah.
Then a middleman comes and takes that supplies to a miller. Then the miller processes it into flour. Alafu ndio anauza. Akiuza, of course itakuwa imepanda bei.
Yes.
What if we know sisi wa Kenya tuko na vishagi kila mahali. It's just a way of survival. And I've seen it working across, because I'm in Nairobi currently, and people are really doing that. Instead of them waiting for maize to be processed from a miller, it could packaged as imefunga vizuri. Why don't you go get maize yourself?
Yeah.
Enda pale kwa kiagi, isagia unga yako uende nayo nyumbani. Of course, the price will be different. Another thing, why don't you go get directly from the soko, kama ni mboga and 5 things, and apika direct, instead of you waiting or going to the supermarket to get the same. Of course, the prices will be different. So it's just about you to adapt, find a solution, and try to really work hard. And also, I would encourage smallholder farmers, those who have a small shamba, and hata wale wako kwa town. If you have a small garden, try and plant some vegetables, try and plant some carrots. Those are things that take 3 months to mature. And for vegetables, if it's sukuma wiki, you can harvest up to 6 months if you take care of them well. So it's high time that we try to even plant our own foods and try to acquire at the best price possible for you to survive.
Very true. Thank you so much, Anthony, for making time to advise us on the various ways of surviving these hard economic times.
Thank you so much.
We'll be looking for you for more conversations regarding matters to do with the money, because with agriculture we try to train our farmers on how to make money and also how to plan on how to use and spend the money.
I'll be ready.
So thank you so much. Yeah, that has been Anthony Njoroge, a financial expert, talking to us about the inflation rate that we are currently experiencing, and the food prices are on a low time high. There's a post I was seeing some other day where people are saying, by the raundi kukulata mayai ni luxury, because mayai moja ni 15 bob. And if you're 4 people, let's say you're eating 2 eggs per person, those are 8 eggs times 15. Hiyo ni kama kununua nyama quarter or nusu. So unashindwa utakula mayai ama utakula nyama ama utanunua maziwa mala. So we are facing hard economic times. I'll be taking a short breather, but when I come back, I'll be joined by one of the agronomists also as we continue this conversation on inflation, and we'll also be looking at some of the stories that are making headlines. Keep watching Afarmers Media. We'll be back after this short break.
Amaranthus, or locally known as terere, is a highly nutritious vegetable that is cultivated and consumed as a leafy vegetable in many parts of the world. It's easy to grow, matures fast, as it takes an incredible shorter period than most traditional crops. There are many species of Amaranthus, with some green and others red in color. When growing Amaranthus, ensure the soil is well drained and rich in phosphorus, and most importantly, ensure the seeds are well distributed to achieve an even spread when establishing a green Amaranthus field. Amaranthus is especially loved for its tender leaves and for their healthy dose of ions, vitamins, and a range of minerals. Beetroot is a highly nutritious root vegetable. The beetroot is the taproot portion of a beet plant. It is one of the many varieties of the genus Beta vulgaris, all of which are mostly grown for their edible taproots and leaves. Beetroot is a root crop that takes approximately 3 to 4 months to mature. Beetroot is a fairly easy crop to grow as long as the soil is well cultivated prior to planting. Beetroots do not enjoy wet, boggy or shady soils. Beetroot can be sown in trays and transplanted when the seedlings have 2 true leaves. Plant in full sun, space seedlings 10 to 15 centimeters apart, and rows 20 centimeters to 30 centimeters apart so they have room to grow. Beetroots are also ideal for containers or raised beds. Beetroots will happily thrive in small areas as long as there is at least 20 centimeters depth of soil. Beetroot has been used not only for food but also for treatment for numerous conditions. Melon is a trailing vine in the gourd family. The word melon can refer to either the plant or specifically to the fruit. Watermelon is a type of melon that is sweet and refreshing fruit. Watermelons can either be grown on home gardens for small-scale farmers or large-scale depending on the market demand. You can either transplant or plant watermelon seeds directly. For best performance, plant watermelons in hot, sunny locations with loose, fertile, well-drained soil that is rich in organic matter. It is best to plant watermelons on raised rows and ensure that the soil pH is between 6.0 to 6.8. On average, it takes around 3 months for a watermelon to grow from seed to mature fruit, with smaller varieties having shorter growing times than larger varieties of watermelon. Watermelon growing, if done rationally and on a scalable basis, can be a good source of income.
A nursery bed is a small area of a yard or garden that's used for growing certain selected plants. The goal of a nursery bed is to grow young plants to a certain size at which they can be easily transplanted. A nursery bed can also be used to evaluate plants to see if they are worthy of planting in the larger garden, to observe their growth, habit and color, or watch them for pests and diseases. A nursery bed is especially helpful for vegetable gardeners practicing succession in planting, in which a steady supply of fresh produce is maintained.
hata imebidi sasa tumebaki tu kwa ma vegetarian kwa sababu bei ya chakula iko juu sana, especially ma proteins. Kama mayai inauzwa 15 bob mayai moja, na umezoea kula mayai kama 4, hiyo ni 60 bob, na mko watu watano 300. Sieri ukule nyama wachane na mayai. But those are survival tips on ways of surviving these hard economic times. And we want to talk to one other person. He's called Samuel Mwangi. He's an agronomist. Just to give us tips on how to survive these hard times. As we try to get Samuel on the phone, let's look at some of the stories lines. As this hour, there's a story here I'm seeing about Muranga residents urged to adopt smart farming. And a meteorological department official has said all parts of the county will be affected with worst heat. I think we found Samuel. Hello, Samuel, can you hear me?
Yes, I can get you very well. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. How are you? How is the weather like wherever you are?
The weather is a bit chilly, and it's also cold.
Wow.
I'm in Nyeri County.
Oh, you're in Nyeri?
Yes.
That's where the show is taking place. It's taking place where?
It's taking place in Nyeri, a place called Kafiroine Showground.
Kafiroine.
Yes.
Tell us the latest updates. What are they showcasing in the show?
So here we have different companies showcasing what they are majoring in, and of course there are demos for the same. Like we have start for each company that are maybe they are doing seeds. We have companies that are showcasing their chemicals for agriculture. So generally things here are very okay. Yes.
But then when you say things are okay, what impact do such shows have probably for the farmers? Because I used to be taken to the showground when I was very young, and I never used to get anything. Like I used to just to be excited, like I've seen a horse, I've gone to the merry-go-round. But then what impact do such shows have on serious farmers, and what role do such shows also play for people who probably want to venture into farming?
So okay, like you said, I think I also used to afford the same, especially when I was in primary school. I used to have I used to even push my parents so that they pay me for the same.
Yes.
Because I like you said, I didn't have so much impact on the importance of such shows. I only thought that maybe it's somewhere you'll go and maybe enjoy yourself. But as times went by, because I remember when I was in high school, at least I had that small clue about agriculture, because you know that we have agriculture in high school. And because it was somehow passionate in me, I developed that such show really have great importance on that is to attend. But for like you said, such shows, they have a very great impact, especially to those people who are doing farming. For example, for myself, I am an agronomist, and that is the area I've majored in, that is agriculture. And the reason you will find out that I took my time and I had to leave some schedules so that I can attend such a place is because this place you get to learn a lot of things that maybe in your area they are not doing them, or maybe in your village you've not experienced this. So the important thing about such shows or such exhibitions is you get to learn about, maybe you get to learn a lot generally, maybe, or like for example right now there are things I'm observing here, and like I've seen new ways of planting crops. There are new chemicals that are fighting different diseases that maybe there after we didn't have them. There before we didn't have them. You also get to interact, and generally you learn a lot from these shows. Yes.
Very interesting. Now, how many exhibitors are showcasing products, and what kind of products are they showcasing in the Nyeri show?
Okay, like I've said later before, is that there are so many companies and showcasing their products, and yeah, there are so many of them, because I can see we have these companies, by the way to note, they are not companies or people who are only for agriculture. We have other people, because we have different stands in each corner of the show. And like for example, I have been to the Simro seed stand, and there you'll be able to see some different that is seeds, maybe from kales, from spinaches, from all varieties of things. They have them in stock. Other places you go to a demo farm. There are companies who have already established demo farms in the area, and here you are learning a lot of things. That is for agriculture. I have also seen start for people who are there's what you used. I saw you discussing the same about climate change. Yeah, they are also people who have their start for that.
Okay, tell us exactly. I'm interested to hear on the climate change. What exactly are they showcasing with climate? Is it something that can change the climate?
Yes, it's something that can change the face of the look of things, because like for example on climate change, they are mostly educating farmers on the modern trends or things that are happening in climate. Like for example, you'll find out that like here in Nyeri, at this time we usually don't have like the climate that we have right now. And you'll be able to find out that in Nyeri, at this, we are in the month of September.
Yeah.
It's usually very hot here. But right now, I can tell you it's raining. Although it's not that much rain that we can put into production that you can plant crops. It's rain that maybe it's not desirable. It's also very cold. So these people are trying to educate farmers on how now to handle this climate change and the production of food, because those are two things that are so much important in as far as agriculture is concerned. Because you'll be able to find out that now the farmers need to change their mind from the old known ways that in the month of August we have rain, and that is in the month of September and October we have rain, we have hot climate. So what they are generally trying to put into the minds of the farmers is that over the years they expect climate change, and how do they have the way they are what the key point in the educating farmers is that how do they go about this climate change, like what are the best crops to plant for such climates. Because in Nyeri we have there was a farmer who was telling me that they do they have 2 seasons per year. Like they have the short lanes and they have the long lanes. And in this short lane, there are varieties that they have been used to plant, which nowadays when they do them, it's not doing well because of the fact of this thing of climate change. Yes, so they are trying to give farmers on how to handle these occurrences, like it has been happening on climate. So that is what they are trying to bring the farmers up to. Yes.
Very interesting. Now, basing on this discussion you're having, where are you seeing probably people heading to matters to do with food security in the coming years? There's this failed rainy season. There's humongous drought that is being faced in most countries. Where are we heading to in terms to food security, and what should farmers and probably governments do to ensure that we are food secure in the coming years?
So when we talk about food security, like you've said, right now we have a very big challenge or we have a big threat when you talk about food security, and maybe to base my discussion on Kenya itself, that is the area where we are doing the same.
Yeah.
So in Kenya, you'll find out that if some few things are not done, we might experience the worst food shortage in the coming years. And why are we doing this? Because, like we've just talked about climate change. Climate change is also will be a big threat when you talk about food security. Because just like I've told you about these things that the effort that these companies that are so much involved in agriculture, because agriculture is the mother of food security. So you'll be able to find out that these companies are coming up with such shows so that they can eliminate or they can educate the farmers about this occurrence of climate change, so that the farmer will now adjust on their ways of farming. And that the reason, or the most important things why, or the reason why they are doing that, is because they have seen, just like you've said, that as a country we might experience food shortages in the coming years. So I think when maybe to base my answers on the government and all that, or the people who are involved, I think food security is something that should be worrying, because and the fact that it's worrying, I think all bodies of the government should now be thinking about how do we eliminate this kind of food shortages in the near future, because it's a threat. Like you'll be able to find out that in right now, like myself, I've been doing farming, and I have farmers, and sometimes I have a client who will complain because of the high prices in agricultural inputs like fertilizers and all that. And you'll be able to find out that if the government do not come up with ways of maybe reducing the prices of input, most farmers will try to, or most people, or those people even who are willing to start this agricultural business, they will try to put their interest in other things, leaving the sector of agriculture with people who are also like struggling, because I believe there are farmers who are very passionate, like myself. Actually, for myself, sometimes I think about quitting doing farming, but I just feel that it's the only thing that I can do, because I'm very passionate about that. Because, like, I remember, like a few months ago, like 3 months ago, there was a time that the price of a bag of fertilizers, it costed me 7,000. So we were two, and I had a client. I was telling that because I'm doing farming on this side, if you have some money, you can come. Then we agree, I will manage you the other farm. So now he asked me about the budgeting of whatever we wanted to, because we wanted to do butternuts and some tomatoes. So that guy asked me about now. How is the price of fertilizers, and how much fertilizers do we require? I told her, on fertilizers we shall have to dig deeper into your pocket, because we shall need fertilizers, because the land was very exhausted, and we also need manure. Now, when I told, maybe to cut the long story short, when I told the farmer that a bag of fertilizers, a fertilizer will cost, is going for 7,000. That guy didn't even listen about anything else from me. He just said, I think I'll not involve myself in agriculture at this time. So now, you see, myself, because I believed I have to do farming, because like I've said, it's my passion. And so, but you see, that guy shied away and all, just left the investment for agriculture, and said it's very expensive because of just one commodity. So, like I've said, that is something that the government should so much work about, because if this agricultural inputs continues to be as high as they are, you'll be able to find out that most people will not involve themselves in farming. Or those people who will be involved, they'll be very less. And agriculture is something that, or food production is something that we cannot just watch about or joke about, because everybody need to feed. And in whatever you do and wherever you are, you'll have to feed. And where do these food come from? They come from farmers, and these farmers are experiencing these things. And when they run away from farming, then it means everybody is not safe.
Very true. Now, you from the explanation you've given, now it brings us now to the topic we are discussing today, and you're talking matters to do with inflation and the rising cost of food. And just like you've mentioned, the pricing of food mostly comes from the amount of money that has been used in the farming process. That is what determines the price of food. So the cost of food in Kenya increased to 15.30% in August of 2022 over the same month in the various year. Why have food prices gone up so much? Like, we've been hearing of food prices increasing since 2020, and we are now in 2022. Why have these prices been on a low time high, and what needs to be done to bring it down?
Okay, to explain that about if it's true that since 2021, or okay, not even since 2021, sometimes in I was doing farming in Ukambani in 2019, 2018, 2019. And by then, the bag of maybe I want to come to get into the conversation with this example. In 2018, 2019, the price of fertilizers, I think it was around 4,500. That is for Yala, because that is the best fertilizer that I usually recommend in my farming. Now it used to cost around 4,500. Now, if you now check the trends from 2020, 2021, and 2022, and that is now, you'll be able to find, just like you said, you'll be able to find out that the prices have been rising, or that is the price in food commodities have been rising like each and every day, and not even each and every day. It's rising and rising and rising continuously. So maybe to mention on the cost, the probable cost for these rise of food commodities, you'll be able to find out that just like I've said, when the prices of farm input increases, what does that tell you? And just like I've also heard you mention that the price of food are determined by the production cost. So if, for example, myself, I'm a farmer, I want to produce, I want to do farming in maybe, for example, I want to produce kales or sukuma wikis. And now, before I harvest, you see, agriculture nowadays we are doing what we call agribusiness. And if it's not agribusiness, then I'd rather quit, because there's no you'll do something that is not giving you returns, and you'll even harm your body, because you can even turn to health issues, because these are things that you are investing for the future or for something. So now you'll be able to find out that the prices of food are mostly set by the production cost. And how does this go? If the production cost of my commodities was, for example, 2,000 shillings, and now before I harvest, I have done all my production cost, and it has costed me 2,000. So now what will that mean? That I'll have to find a selling price for my commodities that will beat this 2,000 that I used for the production, and adding some more money or some more cash on top of that, now that what I will call my profit or my income from the production. So now, if the inputs or whatever I used, like fertilizers, are so high, or they were not even affordable, or before I afford them, I have to add, maybe to give an example on the 2,000 that I have. If the prices of fertilizers will mean that my 2,000, the cost of production will be high, maybe to 3,000, then what will it mean? It will mean that even the commodity that I produce must have a price that will be that will give me more than 3,000, the one of which I used for the production. So that means I'll be able to, I'll be forced to increase the prices of my commodity, so that at least I have I'm the profit margin. You get? So now, oh yeah, that was the first question that you asked.
Yes.
You asked about why, the reason why the prices are increasing.
Yes.
Maybe to conclude, or to conclude on the long story that I've given, the food prices can only be controlled when the prices of farm input, or whatever you used on the first time, on the first day when you are planning to produce, that is when now we base our farm inputs, because farm inputs are the commodities that you are required to have before you start producing, or you start the production process. If those farm inputs are put in a price that will be affordable, or that will not be that high, then it means even the food price will be lower. Yes.
But then someone might argue, let's give an example of eggs. The eggs in Kenya are currently trading at between 350 to 400 Kenya shillings.
Sure.
And the eggs from Uganda are way cheaper. So when you say the production costs, where's the disconnect? Like, where does Uganda source their inputs from that Kenya cannot go source there, so that their cost of production can also be down?
Well, that's a very good question. Okay, now I'll give an example with just like you mentioned about eggs. And you'll be able to find out that in Kenya, eggs are at a very high prices compared to Uganda. Now, the reason why it's happening so, in Kenya, for me to afford a bag of chicken meal, it is high, like I have said.
Yes.
I now want to bring you to now how that connect, or how they are relating on.
Yeah, I think we lost Samuel, but we will try and get in touch with him to continue with this conversation. But as we try to get Samuel, let's look at some of the stories that are making headlines. As of this, our Muranga residents have been urged to adapt to smart farming. A meteorological department official has said all parts of Muranga County will be affected, with worst heat rain being the semi-arid areas of Makuyu, Kamiti, and Gaturi. T-zones that border the Aberdare ranges such as Tudho, Mioro, and Ndakaine will have between 400 and 400 millimeters of rain. So Muranga residents have been cautioned to brace for reduced rains that will occasion minimized harvests. The county director of the Kenya Meteorological Department, Paul Murage, has said concerns that the short rains will start late and end early. The rains normally start in October and conclude in December and will not be enough, according to Murage. So the farmers in Muranga have been urged or advised to practice smart agriculture, such as water harvesting, and planting crops that are climate resilient. In another story is climate shocks push producers to rethink global meat production. I remember last week we did a show where livestock farmers were telling us the plight they are currently going through, and we are still trying to keep in touch and find out how the livestock are faring. Now the demand for animal protein has skyrocketed in recent years. This has put tremendous pressure on production of meat, milk, and eggs to match up with the ever-rising needs of the ballooning consumers. The food animals are therefore selected to grow as fast as possible and produce using minimal resources such as space while maximizing on profits. This system is called factory farming. But what's the consequences of this kind of farming? So this is one of the stories that we'll be taking up to find out how farmers are trying to minimize how can you raise your livestock in a small space and get a lot from your animals. In another story, civil society calls on donors to defund Agra, and that is a discussion we'll be having as the AGRF summit will be coming to a conclusion tomorrow. We'll be having a panel to discuss the outcomes from the AGRF summit, the sessions that have been ongoing the whole of this week, and we'll just try and find out what exactly has been the outcome, even as we look up to the road to COP27 that is coming up in November. So keep watching and listening to Afarmers Media. We'll be back after this short break. Where we'll be telling you more about inflation rate and the rise of food prices. Keep watching Afarmers Media.
Mahindi yamekuwa chakula kikuu katika sehemu nyingi za ulimwengu na jumla ya uzalishaji wa mahindi kuliko ile ya ngano au mchele. Mbali na kuwa mahindi ni chakula, pia hutumiwa kutengeneza ethanoli, chakula cha wanyama na bidhaa zingine. Kunayo mahindi ya gume, mahindi ya ganda, yani popcorn, mahindi ya unga na mahindi matamu. Mahindi yanalimwa sana kote ulimwenguni na kiwango kikubwa cha mahindi hutolewa kila mwaka kuliko nafaka nyingine yoyote. Shamba la mahindi linaweza kutayarishwa kwa kutumia njia za kawaida au za kilimo cha uhifadhi. Kilimo cha kuhifadhi ni pamoja na kunyunyizia dawa za kuulia wadudu zilizopendekezwa na wataalamu wa kilimo. Unaweza kutumia trekta au njia ya mikono kufanya kilimo cha mahindi. Ni muhimu kuandaa ardhi mapema ya kutosha kuruhusu magugu kukauka na kuoza kabla ya kupanda.
Melon is a trailing vine in the gourd family. The word melon can refer to either the plant or specifically to the fruit. Watermelon is a type of melon that is sweet and refreshing fruit. Watermelons can either be grown on home gardens for small-scale farmers or large-scale depending on the market demand. You can either transplant or plant watermelon seeds directly. For best performance, plant watermelons in hot, sunny locations with loose, fertile, well-drained soil that is rich in organic matter. It is best to plant watermelons on raised rows and ensure that the soil pH is between 6.0 to 6.8. On average, it takes around 3 months for a watermelon to grow from seed to mature fruit, with smaller varieties having shorter growing times than larger varieties of watermelon. Watermelon growing, if done rationally and on a scalable basis, can be a good source of income.
Welcome back to the Evening Farm Drive with me, Jackie Mo. Learning a lot from today's discussion, where we've been talking about the rise in food prices and the rate of inflation. Samuel, we lost you for some time. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can get you very well.
Yes, we were talking about the cost of production between Kenya and Uganda before we lost you. Probably you can take it up from there.
So yeah, that's where we left, and I was talking about if you look up at the case in the price of eggs in Kenya, you'll be able to find out that eggs in Kenya are or they have a very high price right now as we talk. And compared to the prices in Uganda, in eggs from Uganda, you'll be able to find out that the prices are not the same. And actually, the prices of egg from Uganda, they are very cheap. And they have not been to so much on the business of eggs. But I think I have an overview of what exactly is happening. And just like you've asked, you've talked about. When you talk about high prices in the feeds, in the chicken feeds from Kenya, and also the management cost is very expensive in Kenya. Like for example, I've been with different farmers who are doing chicken, and they're always complaining that the prices of chicken feeds are very high, and that's the same reason that we are increasing the prices of eggs from Kenya. But when you go to a place like Uganda, you'll be able to find out that the prices of feeds are generally very cheap. Okay, I tend to think about the reason why feeds are not the same, or why the feeds from Kenya are very expensive, and while feeds from Uganda they are cheap, because they must be cheap, and that's the same reason they are selling their eggs at relatively very low prices, because there's no way that the prices of feeds can be high and they sell eggs at a cheaper price.
Yeah.
So maybe I tend to think from Kenya, and this to the government. I think there has also been high taxation by especially to the production sector. I tend to think high taxation in those people who are so much involved in the production of these things, and not only in chicken feeds and all other production sectors in Kenya. Like, you'll be able to find out even the ungas, the cooking oil and all that. Actually, almost all the commodities nowadays, they're very high. The prices are very high. I tend to think it's because of high taxation for the production sectors, and that's where they now had to have to adjust on the prices of their commodities. So, which is also making these commodities, when they get to the consumers, they're also at a high price. And I also think in Kenya we have that tendency of so much in importation of commodities from the outside country. So when we talk about chicken feed, to base my answers on, when we talk about chicken feed, these feeds are made from locally available commodities or materials. Like, we have them in Kenya, but there is, I don't understand why then we have so much importation of materials that are used to make this or most of the product in Kenya. Because if you do mathematics of simple mathematics of when you get something from China, or when you get something from South Africa or wherever, and the one that you're producing locally, which one will be of course the one that you are producing locally will be obtained at a low price. So when you go for something from maybe China or somewhere else, or from outside country, you'll be able to find out as it enters the country, it will have to set its own price. So this is also a big challenge. Another challenge. There was a time I was interacting with someone, and he was telling, I don't know if it's true. He was telling me that in Uganda we have agencies that are coming up with the idea of they're educating the farmers on ways of making these feeds. I don't know if in Kenya we have not embraced this. I don't know, but he was telling me that in Uganda there are agencies that are coming up, private companies that are coming up and educating farmers on how to make this chicken feed for themselves, and using the locally available materials. So that by that you'll be able to find out the prices of, if a farmer can be able to maybe he has 100 chickens, and from this 100 chicken he's able to, maybe he uses two bags of chicken feeds, for example, for a month. If this farmer has a way of making one bag, which means the only cost he's going is for the extra bag. Now, compared to Kenya, where now there are not these such agencies, or the government does not even have such plan, or the only plan that they have is now the rising of the prices. You'll be able to find out there'll be more production and cheap production from Uganda compared to Kenya, and that one will make the prices becomes different. Where you find in Kenya the prices of eggs are high, and in Uganda the prices are low. And the same case will happen to the investors, or those people who bring those eggs to Kenya. They will have a fortune, or they will have a profit from getting eggs from Uganda compared to getting eggs from Kenya.
Very interesting. And what, just the last question, then I release you. What can you advise people to do, because we are, all of us are just surviving these hard economic times. You as an agronomist who is dealing with farmers and the local people, what can you advise them to do in order to survive these hard economic times? Tuache kukula mayai na maziwa ama?
Hapana. Maybe, as an agronomist, maybe to advise farmers on this. Just like I've talked about, if farmers embrace or they get used to, like us, or let me lazima nijitetee kwa sababu I think as a professional most I will get something from the same. But so now I think there are people with this knowledge of, like, let me base my most of my question from by like talked about eggs. So these farmers who are doing chicken production or eggs production, if they get involved, or they form groups that are, maybe they get someone who is educating them on how to make these cheap or available feeds for their chicken, because I believe these things are made from the locally available. Because maybe if you talk about like chick mash, it's a combination of from the constituents of the feed. You'll be able to find out these things. They are made from very locally available producing. Like if you look at things like what, like even animal feeds, these things are from the locally available product, and which as farmers we can maybe start farming, or you can look for people who have the knowledge about how to go about it, and then they get educated, and then they start producing things for their own.
Well, thank you so much, Samuel, for your time. We really appreciated the insights that you've shared with us, and we'll be linking up with you for more insights in the coming weeks on the various horticultural crops that are grown in Nyeri.
Yes.
Yeah, so we've been having a discussion with Samuel Mwangi, who is an agronomist. He's based in Nyeri currently, and he just gave us an update on what's happening in the ongoing show in Nyeri, and we'll be linking up with him tomorrow as well to find out how the show is going on, the number of people who are participating, and I hope you've learned a thing or two on how to survive these hard economic times. And from the list, there's so much that we've heard is people need to don't force yourself, like live within your means. Just like Anthony said, there's no need of pushing yourself to eat beyond what you can afford. Like spend what you can afford, and you don't really necessarily have to rely on if you can't afford buying eggs, you can eat there are so many other alternatives as proteins. Like you can eat beans, you can eat there's so many things that are locally available, and I think you've learned a thing or two, and we'll be linking and joining you again tomorrow for the same show, and we'll be talking about the AGRF summit that is coming to a conclusion tomorrow, and we'll be having insights from guys in Rwanda to tell us how exactly the summit has gone and what we need to expect in COP27, as everyone is now looking up to the COP27 and the climate talks that will be happening at Sharm el Sheikh in Egypt. I don't have much further ado to say apart from have a good evening, and be good, and stay warm. Msipate sauti kama yangu. Keep warm. Take lots of warm water, because it's now the season of getting flu. So keep warm, and stay safe wherever you are. I'll be leaving you with some of our feature stories on poultry farming, as today, as you know, it's Shepherd's Thursday, and we like featuring stories to do with animals and how people are taking care of animals. So we'll be seeing you tomorrow. Goodbye for now.
ndani umetumia kama hata kwa team sales. Sinanga team sales.
Kuku Chick Limited. It's
Sinanga team sales. Maria ina nini? Pigia nani?
where we are featuring one of the successful farms in Uasin Gishu County. It's called Kuku Chick Limited. It's one of the breeder farms that produce day-old chicks and also import poultry breeds from India. And joining me on set is Apollo Ngugi, the farm manager. Thank you so much for joining us in today's edition.
Thank you very much. I'm very lucky to be with you today.
So how is the weather like in Eldoret? Tell us briefly what is happening, the current situation with the ongoing pandemic. Briefly bring us up to speed with the latest from Eldoret.
You know, we are now through with the planting season. Now we are now weeding the farms, and the rains have at least subsided. The maize, you know, this is the maize growing region, and the maize is coming up. Though you know now with the issues and the challenges of COVID, not very many people who are in town. Most of the people are staying at home or working at home. But in Eldoret, we are safe, we are well, and we are happy that people have decided to adhere to the government regulations. So you can see the number of cases in Eldoret have not gone up.
So tell us about Kuku Chick. It's one of the breeder farms that is well known in Eldoret. Who exactly is Kuku Chick, and what do you do at Kuku Chick Limited?
Okay. Kuku Chick Limited is a breeder company, and a breeder company is where multiplication of the breeds that are available and make that technology available to the farmers. Currently, Kuku Chick in Eldoret, we are doing 2 breeds. We have one breed that is called Rainbow Rooster and another breed that is called Croider. These 2 breeds we import from India. We buy the parent stock from India, and these are the parents. Once we import the birds, we bring them to our farms and we rear them up to the point of production. And then we collect the eggs, fertilize them, and take them to the hatchery, where now we are able to sell the day-old chicks. So Kuku Chick, we specialize in the of day-old chicks, while first generation day-old chicks to the whole country and even to the East African region.
Interesting. We also understand that you import a particular variety of these birds from India. Tell us the variety of poultry that you import and why you chose that variety.
Kuku Chick from 2014, we have been having one breed, and the breed is the one that is called Rainbow Rooster. Rainbow Rooster is a bird that has been bred in the tropics, and specifically for the production of the kienyeji chicken. And it's a very good breed. It has been doing very well in our country and even within the East Africa. The advantages or the good thing about Rainbow Rooster is that you are able to get good quality chicken meat in a period of 3 to 4 meat. And that kienyeji meat, chicken meat is kienyeji, so the taste is very good. It is not very tough, and many people, the consumers, like it very much. That is why farmers all over the country have been keeping this breed. But since there is that high demand for birds, and farmers also look at the various variety of birds in the market, there is a breed that has been in the market, though it has been imported from neighboring countries, that is called Croider. And farmers have shown a serious interest also in this breed. And so as Kuku Chick from last year, we decided to place a flock of Croiders. And now we are able to sell day-old chick Croider chicks, which is a 1 generation. So kuku chick currently we are able to sell two breeds of improved kienyeji birds. That is Rainbow Rooster and Croiler. Those two breeds are derived from India, and so they are very well adaptable to our climate and our region.
What are the significant features of the rainbow rooster? Because are they layers or are they mainly raised for meat?
All the improved cage breeds that are in the market, these are very birds that are meant. If you look at the way the health sector is saying, people are looking for good quality white meat. And we know the two sources of white meat is the chicken plus the fish. And so in the sector for white meat on poultry, chicken is a good source of white meat. And since people are aware of their health status, they like taking chicken so much. And now when you go list of chicken, people say the broiler is not very tasty. And that is why they go for the kienyeji chicken, which is tasty and they can taste the chicken meat. But now the availability of the kienyeji chicken is not as people would intend it to be. That is, we have come up with a breed that is much closer, like kienyeji chicken, though it is faster. When I say faster, I'm saying that within 3 to 4 months, you are able to take your birds to the market for sale. And within 5 months to 6 months, the female will start going for production of eggs. So with that, farmers are able to reap much or higher when they look at the chicken, when they look at the rainbow rooster or the improved kienyeji in that category, that people are looking for kienyeji chicken, and they can be able to now with the rainbow roosters and the croilers.
Okay, talking about what is it called? How you multiply and propagate the chicks. We've seen in your website you prefer doing artificial insemination because of the weight of the rainbow rooster. Tell us briefly about that and how you go about propagating the chicks.
Once we import the day-old chicks from India and we rear them, for the rainbow rooster and the croiler, these are heavy breed birds. If you allow natural insemination to take at production, you lose a lot of your females because the males are very heavy, and so they will cause a lot of injuries to the females. That is why cuckoo chick, we have adapted the system of artificial insemination whereby we get the semen from the males and we transfer to the females, and that we call it artificial insemination. And it has worked very well for us. We are able now to get almost to 96, 97% of our eggs being fertile, and at the same time, we are able to maintain males, and our females now, we can be able to get, we don't have serious losses on our females in terms of mortalities. That is why I think we are the only farm within this region or within Kenya who is doing commercial artificial insemination in poultry. And that is one of our biggest. Second, we are able to supply the number of birds that are required in the market at a particular time when the issues, we are able to meet the customer demand, because with high production of eggs with the females and also with artificial insemination giving us a very high number of fertilized eggs, we are able to meet the market demand at all the times.
About the weight of the birds and what exactly you feed them so that to attain that kind of weight, and is it a must that they attain that weight for them to get the maximum number of eggs?
What we say is this: On the issue of weights, these are breeds that are specifically or scientifically bred for the purpose of high meat gain. Because we are looking at the market, people are looking for a good quality chicken, but they are not getting it. So the science behind the birds is that the birds have to grow very fast. They have so that they reach the body weight that is required for the market within the shortest time possible. And that is why we are able to get those birds, the rainbow. That's why the rainbow rooster is able to reach that. And as I've said, also Croiler is another beautiful breed, a good breed that has come into the market, and it does the same as the rainbow rooster in terms of its productivity. So we are telling farmers, if you have a market for Kienyeji, or if you know the market where people want the Kienyeji chicken, you are very sure with us that if you get the rainbow roosters from us and you get the Croilers from us, you rear them in the correct way as we train farmers, then you're able to get the results in a good time, to sustainably deliver to your client at the time that is required.
Thank you for that. Now, being a breeder farm, how would you advise farmers when it comes to taking care of the birds from maybe a day old? What is the correct procedure for a farmer to follow when they are taking care of their birds, maybe from morning till evening?
That's a good question. Many people, and as we have experienced over the period of 5 years, they will hear from their friends or from their Facebook media, and they will hear poultry business is good and all go into it. I want to everybody who wants to engage into poultry, first look for the proper advice. Get the technical details that you are supposed to know before you put your money. Many people just go buy chicks and they don't even have a place to put the birds. They don't have the required equipment. They don't even know when the vaccinations should be done, and it becomes very difficult for farmers. The first point for every farmer who wants to be successful in the poultry business, you must seek for proper advice in terms of all the issues that will be required for your business to succeed. For today, we are telling farmers, start by having a proper and a well constructed brooder, because the first 3 weeks of the life of that chicken is very important. This is when the organs being. This chicken is not able to control its temperature. You have to be able to assist that bird, and so you are the one who is supposed to have a very good brooder. And I know you are going to see it from the screen. You can be able to see a very good brooder, whereby you construct the brooder. It should have the source of heat, it should have the right equipment, it should be round in shape, and also much of it should have the video, or the beddings should be at least. Once you are able to do that, your birds will grow, and you are supposed to put heat for the first 3 weeks of life of that chick. Remember also, this is the cold season. It might even push you to go to the fourth week of that month. You make sure that enough warmth for your chicks. But once the chicks have developed the feathers and they are able now to take care of themselves, now the heat is no longer required for the chicks. Number two, as you can see, there are different sources of heat. You can either use infrared bulbs, you can use the charcoal geckos. But now currently you can use the ordinary pot and put the charcoal inside and light the charcoal, and it will radiate the heat to all the chicks for that period of time that you'll be there. So the chicks will enjoy it. So there are different sources of heat, and these different sources will serve the chicks. The best behavior for the best guide for the chick is the chick behavior. When the chicks are so close to the source of heat, you know the chicks are not getting enough heat. When the chicks are very far away from the source of heat, you know the temperature is very high. If the chicks are evenly distributed within the brood, they're feeding, they are drinking, they are playing together, now you know the temperatures are good. The temperature for the chicks is supposed to be added during the day and during the night. Then you are, but it should be controlled by the farmer. So after the first 3 weeks, which is very critical, farmer can now be able to open up the brooder and transfer the birds to the chicken house. And in the chicken house, the major activity that happens there is now feeding and watering the bunny, monitoring the issues of diseases and all that. What I tell farmers is that for the first 1 month, you are supposed to feed your chicks with chick mash. Then after that, you start feeding your birds with growers mash, and the birds will be okay. One serious problem you have encompassed when you are doing this business is that many farmers will go for the cheap product in terms of feed, and they forgot that the chick requires the quality, not the price. So I advise farmers always don't first look for the quality. Once you're satisfied with the quality, then now you can discuss the price, but not the other way around. There are several brands of Kenyeji chicken feeds in the market, but I tell you, it is a very serious problem with the farmers because they think they are feeding their chicken and their chicken are not gaining weight. They are having high mortalities because most of the Kenyeji feed that is labeled Kenyeji, it is not nutritionally correct. So buy good quality chicken mash, buy good quality growers, and your birds will do very well. It's also good to monitor the weights of your bird on weekly basis and guide with us whereby we tell this week the weight should be at this, so that you are able to know whether the feed that you're using is good. So that will help the farmers to do the business. But when everything is healthy and everybody is happy with what is happening, the farmer is doing the right thing, within 3 months, you get value for your money. You get back your money in your pocket.
Very interesting. The most probably the biggest question that farmers keep asking us here at Afarmers is where should a farmer begin from when it comes to poultry farming, and how much can a farmer maybe start with when they want to put up a poultry farming venture?
That's a good question. How many chicks is a good question. But what I would say is this: it depends with the who is asking that question, because somebody who has that, I cannot tell you to start with 500 if your capital does not allow for 500. I cannot tell you to start with 100 if your capital can be able to take you up to 1,000 bahts. It depends with the capital that you have put in place. But we usually tell farmers and people who are interested in this business, you start small according to yourself what small could be. Maybe you start with 100 bahts and have that clear guidance in your business plan that you are going to increase this number of birds to a particular number within a period of time, because you don't want you to be stagnated in that business for a long time. If I tell somebody to start with 100 birds, they will say this is too much. Others, they will want to start at 10. And I will tell them this is a very small number, you will not see the economic value of that bird. Many farmers who have started the business and they were very committed to their business, they start with a small number, all of a sudden they go increasing the number. And the increase of numbers is not that you bought 100 chicks today, and after 3 months, when you come and buy another 150. The increase could be that placing some birds either on monthly basis or you're placing birds on weekly basis. And then the birds, the number will be the same, but the number of times or the number of batches can increase successively depending with the market where you're supplying your birds. So I tell somebody, challenge yourself. Go too low, don't go too high. Also, the biggest people will face is that these are Kenyeji birds. after 4 weeks, these birds are supposed to be released outside. They are supposed to get enough sunshine and also to get a lot of greens or other feeds that can be fed to the chicken. So after, it is entirely to the person who is taking care of their chicks to be able to look for feeds that are good for the birds, but not that you must go to the agrovet. The food leftovers, the leftovers from the various places, you can feed your chicken even from the market after 1 month and still get good results. Because when we look at the farmers, we tell them, if put the number of birds that you can be able to feed, good quality feeds, enough and well balanced. Once you're able to feed to reach that, your birds will be able to do very well. So I don't want to say that these are birds that you'll keep, that you start with 500 or you start with 1,000 or you start with 10. It is entirely the capital that you have set and also the passion you have for the birds.
The other question that we usually get is about the structure for the poultry, and there's something that we saw on your website where you're explaining how the poultry house, where it should face. Probably you could talk about the poultry structure and the procedure of constructing that house and where it should face.
Jackie, this is a very good question. Still going back that we are talking about the kienyeji chicken. There are various designs for chicken houses, but what we can only talk is what are the house requirements for the chicken. One, we have to have a very good there are two chicken. One is a brooder, where you take care of the chicks for the first 3 weeks. That house has to be able to be built in a way that it will give enough warmth for your chicks. For those farmers who are in the villages and those people who are young, you can start even from the kitchen where you prepare food, one of the corner, you can start your brooder there. Or in one of the stores in the house or one of the vacant rooms in the house, you can brood your chicks there for the first 1 month. But after that, you require a good chicken house. A chicken house should be built should have a wall of at least 3 feet. Don't extend the wall to 4 feet or 5 feet. These are birds, they require a lot of ventilation, they require a lot of air. So you put a wall that is 3 feet. Then you also put cuckoo net or the cuckoo net for another 5 feet. So the height of the chicken house should be about 8 feet on the shorter side. Once you have a beautiful house, it can either be rectangle, it can be circular, it can be square. These are kienyeji birds. Because at the end of the day, we intend that as you are building this house, you are going to have a chicken run or a place where the birds will be able to walk outside and get sunshine after 1 month. So, and also be able to feed on greens. So we recommend a house that is 3 feet wall and it should be 5 feet coconut, and at the door you must have the footbath. Especially the first 1 month, we don't want to bring diseases to those birds because the internal organs are developing. Have a footbath at the front of at the door, and also make sure it has disinfectant so that you're able to control the diseases from affecting your chicks. But generally, the improved kienyeji birds don't require such sophisticated buildings. If it was broilers and layers, now we could be able to talk on the number, on the size of the house, and how it is designed. But we tell farmers who are serious, we have several models of chicken houses. Depending with the numbers of birds that you want to keep, we'll give you those designs when you talk to us, and we'll be able to meet all those requirements. We'll be able to help you with the requirements for the house, depending with the number of birds that you want to keep at that time.
This conversation is very interesting, and time is really running out, but people would like to know where they can get the chicks and how much you sell them, and whether you can do deliveries and which parts of the country where you do deliveries.
Thank you. As our company surprise birds within the country and within East Africa. So we are able to meet all the requirements of farmers within our region. The way we are able to do that is that we have a network of sales representatives in the various places, from Mombasa to Lamu to Mandera to Mount Kenya to the North Rift. We have a sales representative. Then those sales representatives will recruit or have recruited the agents. Most of our agents are people who have some background on the issues of livestock or agriculture, such that they have agrovets or they are agrovet owners and they have some background, such that when the farmer goes there and buys the chicks from that agrovet, they're able also to buy the vitamins, they're also able to buy the feeds, and also get some technical issues on that. But it is not only limited to, the agency is not only limited to agrovets, it is people who have passion for chicken, and they can be able, farmers can come there, they want 20, they want 30, they want 100, they book, then on a certain date, whether a Tuesday or a Friday, the bird will be delivered to that agrovet, and then the farmers will pick from there. We encourage the agencies that these are people that are known to you. So when you pay your money there, because the chicks will only be delivered when the money has been paid, when you pay your money there, you will be assured that this is a person I know and I can trust that even if I leave money with them, then I'll get my chicks at the appointed time. So with that, we are able to meet various farmers in various regions, and we are able to supply them to closest to them. We don't promise to take the chicks to their farms, but we supply very close to them. The price of each day-old chick is 100 shillings delivered to the agent. You'll go and pay 100 shillings to the agent, and then on that particular date that you are given by the agent, you will come receive your chicks. The issues of transport are handled by the company.
Okay, now when it comes to challenges, right now we're having the COVID-19 pandemic. Probably before you even explain how the pandemic has maybe affected your day-to-day handling of the birds, maybe talk about the other diseases that affect the birds and how you could encourage farmers to deal with the pests and diseases when it comes to poultry farming, and also talk about how the pandemic has affected your day-to-day handling of birds and the challenges that you face in poultry farming.
Thank you very much, Jackie. One thing is very clear. Every business has its good side and also has its own bad side. There are the challenges and there are the benefits from that business. The major challenges is, one is management. If you don't seek proper advice, you'll get into problems with your poultry business. Always talk to the right people who have succeeded in poultry business. Don't just go to anybody and ask them to tell you about chicken. They will tell you things that are not correct, but look for the people who have seen benefits and are active in that business. They will advise you correctly. Number two, diseases are a major challenge for poultry, such that even if we have given you a good breed, that we know it is disease resistant. There are diseases like Newcastle. There are diseases like coccidiosis. There are diseases like Guboro. There are diseases like fall pox, fall typhoid, infectious bronchitis, Marex. These are diseases that affect farmers at one point or the other. And so, as a company, we tell you that there are these diseases and they are going to affect you. Diseases like Newcastle, Guboro, infectious bronchitis, and Marex, and fowlpox, these are viral diseases. You will not go to any agrovet and get your medication there. These are diseases that you are supposed to control through vaccination. And our company, Kukuchik Limited, is able to put a vaccination program on every box of chicks that is sold, because we don't want the farmer to say, I did not get a vaccination program. So we attach a vaccination program on every box that we sell, that we supply the chicks with, such that a farmer can be able to know when to vaccinate and which vaccine to do. For the March vaccine, it has already been done at the hatchery before the chicks are dispatched. But for the others, like Newcastle and Gubor, you have to, for Newcastle and infectious bronchitis, you do at day 6 and you repeat at day 28. For Guboro, you do at day 14 and you repeat at day 21. For fowlpox, you are supposed at 6 weeks. But there are people who are in endemic areas of fowlpox. You should tell them, if you know this place has serious challenge with fowlpox, you do the first vaccine of fowlpox at 3 weeks, and you repeat the vaccine of fowlpox at 9 weeks, such that your birds will not get that disease. The disease, fall typhoid, is also there. It's supposed to be vaccinated at 8 weeks. Newcastle disease has a major challenge with farmers, especially the kienyeji chicken. So we usually tell somebody, after every 3 months, repeat the vaccine. Every month, repeat the vaccine so that your birds are okay. Diseases like coccidiosis, these are management problems. When the water is poor and you are not able to remove the wet treater, now you get coccidiosis. These are diseases that when you call us, we'll be able to assist you and help you to know which antibiotic to buy, and you'll have your poultry doing well. So those are the challenges that we have with diseases. There's also the chronic respiratory disease, where you see your birds are affected, they are whistling, they are coughing. So that disease is also affecting farmers. It's a bacterial disease, and there are things that there are antibiotics there. When you call us, we will advise you on the best antibiotic to buy. Coming now to the issue of the COVID, generally speaking, we have not had an experience of chicken being affected by COVID. Many people can say so many things, but chicken, the current COVID pandemic that you are going through, it's not affecting chicken. It's only affecting the poultry business. Especially the broiler industry has been affected seriously because hotels have been closed, when schools have been closed, and then the market for the product, the meat and the eggs, become affected. So that's how farmers are suffering, especially those who keep the other breeds.
Still on the COVID pandemic, because you're also a company that imports, how easy or hard has it been for you to get probably the brood stock? And how often were you bringing before the pandemic, and how much are you bringing now into the country?
Maybe as Kukuchik Limited now, the issue of COVID is also, it's not an easy one for all of us. Like now, as I said, we import our parent stock from India. Now the market is closed. The airlines are suspended. They are only allowing the cargo planes. And remember, poultry is not cargo. Poultry is live product. It has to be carried by the passenger airlines. And so, you see, we are not able to bring the parent stock at the right time. Like now, we are supposed to have imported at least 2 batches of. We cannot be able to do that. We don't know when we are going to import. So we believe in the future, in as our company, we'll have problem with the delivery of chicks to the farmers, because for now we cannot be able to give that farmer in the future, because we do not have enough parent stock. We not place parent stock in time. We'll have some challenges. We'll look for ways to overcome those challenges. But that is one of the challenges that which is affecting us seriously on this end. When you also look at COVID, it has also affected us in our distribution system. Once we get the chicks and we want to deliver the chicks closest to the farmer through the agencies, we have to use the matatu systems, the matatu network. Maybe the company can transport to a particular town, maybe Kakamega, maybe Kisumu, Nairobi, Mombasa, Nyeri, but there are other agents who are inside. So we use the matatu system to transport those birds to the closest to the farmer. Now the matatu system, the number of passengers have been reduced. So the cost even of setting the chicks has increased drastically. Some of the regions, like you are not even able to enter those regions. We are supposed to use our own company vehicles or hire other vehicles to be able to reach those destinations. It is not easy. We don't want to tell you it is an easy ride for all of us. It has brought serious issues in our distribution system. Even also when you look at the customers who buy from us, it has become a very big challenge. From the time the government said stay at home, it is now a big challenge to us. Because when people went home, the other best alternative to stay at home was stay at home and raise chicken. And now the demand for the day-old chicks has gone up. It has gone almost like 3 times. And so farmers are pressing orders with us and are not able even to supply in good time because they wanted to do the business when they are at home. But the demand has grown very big and it is not easy even sometimes to meet the demand for the farmers when they want it. Sometimes you are telling the farmers you have to wait for 2 weeks to get your birds. So it is not also very easy for the clients who have been supporting our business for all through that time. See, also the government has said it has suspended all meetings. When the meetings have been suspended, it means we are not even able to train our farmers effectively. When we are training our farmers, we also do it one-on-one. We are talking with the farmers in a field, in a classroom, in a church somewhere. We are training them. We are doing the PowerPoint presentation. Now we cannot be able to do that. So the farmers have been challenged in a big way, such that now they have we have now to embrace technology, either through WhatsApp, either through phone calls, SMSs, Facebook, like now what we are doing, and many other things, even the television, so that we are able to reach the farmers. But it is not easy. COVID has changed the whole system of training for our company. When you look also in the issues of needs and the inputs, the government has also to think that, to look at it and look at poultry sector as an essential service, because they are the feed manufacturers who need to deliver feeds to the farmers at the right time. The people who, the vaccine dealers, the vaccine at every time, the antibiotics, the vitamins, all these things, the farmers require them. And we need the government also, and at least let the poultry value chain actors also be part of the essential services providers, so that we are able to meet the demand. The farmers are able to get the products that they are looking for their products. With that said, even at the company level, the workers and how we operate the operations, Jackie, I want to tell you for now, go for leave, because we don't know what will happen when you go out there. It is serious restriction at the farms, because if one of our workers is affected, we know the consequences. It might cause us to close the whole farm because of the quarantine issues that are in the country. So it is a serious issue for all of us. It is not easy, but we are trying, and we are trying all that we can to make sure that we reach to the farmer, and the farmer is able to deliver to the customer the required product.
Well spoken, Apollo. There, you've aired very interesting views, and I hope the government officials are watching, and they'll really act on the poultry sector to assist probably the farmers when it comes to these kinds of challenges. There's a lot that we can talk when it comes to the poultry sector, I hope we'll get you some other time, Apollo, to talk about the biosecurity measures. I know you have very strict rules when it comes to coming into the farm. Probably you can mention some of the rules as we come to a closure of this interview, and also probably give us your parting words as we come to a closure of this interview today.
Okay. Jackie, let me tell you, you have come to our farms, you understand what poultry breeding is all about. You just don't just decide from somewhere that you want to go and visit Kukuchik breeder farms. It is not that way. You have to get authorization from the management, and you are given a specific date. And in that day, when you are coming, you're not supposed even to eat chicken product. We don't want to bring issues to our farms. Maybe it will require you to come and stay in one of the hotels in Eldoret on your own cost, so that when you are waking up that day, you are only waking up to come to our farm. Because the issue of biosecurity, we take it very seriously. We know this. If we have our birds sick, most likely it will have a vertical transmission to the chick, and so our farmers will be affected. So we are very careful on the issues of diseases. So if you are to come to our farm, you have to seek authorization. Once you come, we have to change you, and we have to give you the company clothing, and you have to adhere to all the biosecurity issues. You have to go to the fogging and fogging chambers so that we are able to control diseases to our frogs. It is not easy, but we usually tell people, if you must visit, seek for authorization, don't just come to our gates and say, I want to see what is here. Number two, and in short, poultry business is gaining in our country, and people are getting value when they engage in poultry. I want to encourage everybody who has been thinking that they want to do venture into agriculture or to venture into livestock production, go into poultry, go into improved energy business. Because as we have said, the challenges will be there, but there are enormous benefits that you derive when you do business with the chicken. One, you are able to sell your birds within the shortest time possible. I'm saying 3 months. So within 1 year, you can sell 3 or 4 frogs in a year. If you are to get a profit of 200 shillings times the number of birds that you have kept, you can see now you are doing business. I am encouraging young, especially the border riders, beavers, and everybody who is looking for what to do. Engage yourself with 50 to 100 birds. As you are doing your hustle, make sure you feed your chicken. And within 3 months, you will have enough capital to venture even into what you have been wanting to do. Chicken is it is assumed there is no money in chicken, but I want to tell you, venture into it and you see how it can change your life, how it can transform your life. Remember, even the second in command in our country is also a serious poultry farmer. So that tells you that poultry business is a big business for everybody. For everybody who wants to get business, to do business, they can engage in poultry. Number two, when you look at the benefits that you can derive on, this is good protein, and you know it is a major problem with us in Africa to get enough protein in our diet. Chakula yetu ni ugali na sukuma wiki, but now we will be able to put an egg on that food. We can be able to put a piece of chicken in that food. Then we are able to get enough and good, well-balanced food that we consume. So it is also healthy for our own life. It is also good for our own health when we consume poultry products. Then number three, remember the byproduct of chicken is manure. And that manure, when you apply it in your farm or in the farms, you can see a big change in the production that you are going to get from other crops. Then also, poultry can be integrated with any other livestock, whether it is the dairy, whether it is the piggery, whether it is the sheep, you can integrate it with other projects, and it also will do very well for you. So I want to encourage everybody, the housewives at home, those people who looking to further their studies and they have not reached there, engage yourself. It's also a good way that you start planning for your retirement. When you go back home, that rural home, have already an existing poultry business that is going on, so that you'll be able now to start your business very well, and you'll be happy. Thank you.
Well put there, Apollo. This conversation will keep going on and on. There's someone who sent me a message and asking me, does poultry business really pay? Is there profits when it comes to poultry farming? Probably touch on that as we come to a close. We hope to have you in more shows to teach us about poultry farming, but just tell us, does poultry farming pay?
Let me just give him a very simple scenario. If you have 50, if you buy 50 day-olds from us, you rear them up to 1 month, and you sell 5, 10 to the farmers around you, each chick will give you between 50 and 50 shillings price. So if you have 50 chicks times 50 shillings, you have yourself 2,500 shillings extra within 1 month. And that is the simplest you can be able to get. So it is pays if you are able to do business, very good business. If you are doing 50 birds, rainbow rooster, and you have them up to maturity and they reach 2 kilos, they will have consumed around 400 shillings. If you sell one chicken at 800 to 1,000 shillings, you can see the number of the notes we are talking about. So it is good business. And I encourage him to call us through our numbers that will be displayed. Call us, will give you information that you require to succeed in that poultry business as Cook Limited. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Apollo Ngugi, for making time to join us in today's edition. We hope to have you in more shows to teach us about poultry farming.
Thank you very much. We hope to meet soon.
And that has been Sauti ya Mkulima for you this week. I hope you've learned a thing or two about poultry farming, and especially the rainbow rooster variety. At Kuku Limited, they've said they also do Kuroiler variety. We hope to get Apollo Ngugi to train us more about the poultry varieties and how to best take care of the birds when it comes to poultry farming venture. I've been your host, Jacqueline Kemuncho. Until next time, see you.